The Hart Trophy race in the NHL, in my opinion, is a true 4-horse race with under 10 games to go. However, there is one legitimate outsider who should be unanimously voted for if his team makes the playoffs. Before I get into that guy, let me give you my 4 in no particular order. None whatsoever. Leon Draisaitl, Nikita Kucherov, Nathan MacKinnon, and Connor Hellebuyck. That's most people's 4. Maybe there's only 3 if you take out Kucherov, who doesn't seem to be getting the same, Hart Trophy love as the rest of the guys on that list. So there's those 4. And you can make a case for all of them because they're all having fantastic seasons. Anyone can do that. I can do that right now. Let's just run through it. And like I said, in no particular order. Because if I was voting right now and it was just those 4, I'd have a difficult time. I'd have to wait until the end of the season to truly give my vote on who I think should win the Hart Trophy. Leon Draisaitl having a fantastic season in the wake of Connor McDavid having a down year. A down year. The guy's got 90 points in 63 games. So a down year for McDavid isn't the same down year for a regular superstar player in the NHL. Draisaitl's already north of 100 points, and it looks like he's going to be the only guy to score 50 goals this season, which is a bit strange. I mean, Nylander's behind him and has a chance to hit 50, but he's running out of time, so I don't see that happening. So if you look at Draisaitl, the only 50 goal scorer, north of 100 points, easily make the case just with those 2 stats alone. Unfortunately, the guy's been injured. And he's picked up another injury. We don't know how long he's going to be out for. If he's shut down for the rest of the season, then he might be out of the Hart Trophy race, which is kind of crazy to say, but just hear me out. But he comes back after missing a few games against Calgary, decides to take over that game. Edmonton is losing 2-1 late in the third. He scores a tying goal and then in overtime scores the game winner. That's what he's done for the Edmonton Oilers all season long, and that's why he's probably one of the top 2 to win the Hart Trophy this year. Did the same in Vegas, really. He was one of the best players, scored in that game as well. Nathan MacKinnon leads all players in points right now, 114 points, the most even strength points. Obviously, he's got Cale Makar there, and that's the thing that Draisaitl and MacKinnon have in common. They're Robins. Maybe Draisaitl's not Batman to McDavid. But what I'm saying is their supporting cast is a lot stronger than some of the other players that I'm going to mention on this list. But MacKinnon's been great. There's a reason why he won it last year. He's doing the same thing over again. It almost looks like he's having a better year. And one thing I want to mention, he hasn't missed a single game this year. Kucherov has. Draisaitl has. Hellebuyck, missed games because goaltenders have to miss games. But in terms of skaters, he's played every single game. The guy's a horse, and he played every game in the Four Nations as well. He hasn't slowed down. He's their best player. He's got 114 points. Makar behind him's got 80. And then the drop-off is significant because Rantanen no longer plays them. He's third on the list with 64 points. He's not there anymore. Then it goes to Lehkonen with 44 points. So MacKinnon and Makar carrying the load, more so Nathan MacKinnon. Nikita Kucherov, who I think should have won last year, has a pretty good shot of winning this year. He's second in points just behind MacKinnon with 111. Second in assists, most power play points. Tampa Bay without Nikita Kucherov, I think would struggle to finish in the top 3 of the Atlantic. They'd probably still finish in a wild card because Tampa, they spread out to scoring a lot more than, Edmonton or Colorado. You got, Hagel's having a career year. Braden Point's having a great year. Tony Cirelli's having a great year. So their scoring is more spread out. And that might hurt Kucherov a bit because I guess that in a way, that would mean he's not as valuable. But still, 111 points, second in assists, most power play points. He's a stud. Number 4 on the list, like I mentioned, Connor Hellebuyck, who's doing things that we haven't seen done in a long time. He could finish tops in wins, goals against, save percentage, and shutouts. That's only happened 3 times in the NHL. And the last time it happened was in the 70s. So he's putting together a rare year, and his team might win the President's Trophy. And they've been, outside of Washington, the best team from the start of the season until right now. He's a throwback in so many ways when it comes to goaltending. He's one more win away from being top 7 all time with most wins in a single season. He's at 44. He's probably got 4 to 5 starts left unless the Jets decide to maybe want to rest him or if he wants some rest. Maybe it's his decision and not Winnipeg's. And they might win the President's Trophy. So that's going to count towards a lot. Obviously, goaltenders aren't, aren't players who normally win this trophy, but he has to be in consideration. Now to my legit outsider. And I just want to pose this to you. It's a defenseman. You probably know who it is. I don't know why I'm leaving you hanging here, but I feel like that's what you got to do on YouTube. Forget Cale Makar for a second, because Cale Makar is in his own category. Maybe should be on the Hart Trophy list if he was on his own team and wasn't playing under the shadow of Nathan MacKinnon. Let's just take Quinn Hughes, for example. If Quinn Hughes, who's having a really good season, even though he missed some time, 16 goals, 54 assists for 74 points. If Quinn Hughes played for the Columbus Blue Jackets, would he be considered for the Hart Trophy? Like a serious consideration to win that trophy as the MVP of the NHL this season? Absolutely. I think you would agree and most people would agree. Well, there's a guy named Zach Werenski who's having an incredible season. He has the same amount of points as Quinn Hughes, 74. He's got 20 goals and 54 assists. Let me just throw some of these stats at you to show you how good Zach Werenski actually has been. He's second in even strength points out of every defenseman behind, obviously, Cale Makar, who's got 90 points already, 30 goals, 60 assists. Unbelievable season. He's played the most minutes out of any player in the NHL, most minutes per game in the NHL, leads his team in assists, points per game, power play points, overtime winners, game winners. He plays in every single situation, and he's plus 11 on a team that's allowed the 6th most goals in the NHL in the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's been that good. He's the reason why the Columbus Blue Jackets are in the position that they're in. And one thing that you have to consider, and you know where I'm going, is the tragedy that happened prior to the season starting with Johnny Gaudreau and his brother, unfortunately, passing away. And how that's affected Columbus and how that's affected their players. I mean, nobody would bat an eye if Columbus had a bad season, because you would understand what they're going through, the grieving process, how hard that is on players like Werenski and Sean Monahan, and the staff and the management and the coach. That's a difficult situation to get through. And despite all that, they're 5 points out of a playoff spot, chasing Montreal with a game in hand. And one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, is Zach Werenski. And I know some might say, well, how can he be considered for the Hart if he's not even the best defenseman in the league? That's a fair point. But I'm pairing the stats with what happened before the season started. And I think voters have to consider that. If he gets his team into the playoffs, and the team, they're not filled with superstar talent and goal scorers and point getters and outstanding goaltending. Far from that. Every game, it seems like they're playing 7-6, 8-7 type games. And he's still, like I said, a plus 11. He's still a very good defenseman. He's on the ice all the time. And I know the Four Nations won't come into consideration. Maybe in some voters' eyes they will. But he was great there. He's one of the Americans' best players. And look at how star-studded that team is. So I think if they get into the playoffs, which is going to be difficult with the way that Montreal is playing right now and the way that Ottawa is also playing, they slipped a little bit, but they pretty much locked up that first wildcard spot. Montreal's got the second spot. The Rangers are in the mix. So it's going to be tough for Columbus. But if he gets in, if Columbus Blue Jackets get into the playoffs, the Hart Trophy deserves to get the Hart Trophy. And I don't think anybody would have an issue with that. I don't think even I don't think McKinnon, Draisaitl, Kucherov, Hellebuck, McDavid, whoever's in the mix, Jack Eichel, no player would have an issue with him winning that MVP award, because that is the true MVP. A guy who can, get through difficult times, still put his team on his back, be the best player on the ice every single night, and get his team into the playoffs. That's a true MVP. You take Zach Werenski off the Columbus Blue Jackets, they're nowhere near that. And prior to the season starting, even before the Gaudreau stuff, which is unbelievably tragic, no one pegged the Blue Jackets to be, battling for a wild card. And maybe a second wild card if they kind of figured it out. So I think his team and himself have exceeded expectations in the face of an incredible adversity. And so for me, there's 4 guys, like I mentioned, who are going to be in it regardless. But you have to throw the man from Columbus in there if his team gets into the playoffs and just give him the award, because he deserves it.